好啦，等我改埋，但係我又唔係好夠膽放個 show like 喺個 title 嗰度，因為我記得有一次，有一年定唔知有一屆，就係打咗個 show like，跟住嗰個人就問我乜嘢係代表 show like，係咪乜鬼嘢你都話係 show like？呢個係可以用手掣玩嘅。好啦，轉咗 title，YouTube 應該 stream 翻，冇錯。呢個亦都係 public 嘅 ，OK。呢隻應該算係橫向 show like 㗎。唔好用手掣喎。Reset 係select，coming soon keyboard。Xbox third party save change， 哇，要咁樣轉添啊！唔應該要咁轉嘅喎，我覺得。咁應該係more like Metroidvania。音樂呢度可以。個控制起上嚟有啲奇怪。New game 都仲係太大聲，我想講。係咪都仲係太大聲啊？對你嚟講？我仲以為係 Pro。That morning, the first day of the warm season, was a day of high prayer. High prayer wasn't often. Hello， 霆鋒你好啊！睇下先。有一段時間冇見你啦。High prayer wasn't often, but always coincidence with a change in the weather. I jolt awake disoriented and aware that something wasn't right. What is it that's wrong? Hearing the sound of the crowd in the morning air outside my windows, the dread came over me, and suddenly I realized. 好，轉返中文先。嗰一日係第一日暖嘅季節，暖嘅季節第一日，亦都係祈禱嘅一日 ，high prayer， 我諗係咁意思啊。跟住之後，但係嗰一日感覺上邊硬係有啲嘢唔妥嘅，到底係啲咩唔妥咧？聽到群眾嘅聲音喺呢個，哇！點譯啊，大佬？OK， 喺呢個窗嗰度聽到有啲之後 morning air outside my window， 咩叫 morning air outside my window 咧？算啦，你 get 到咧，呢個都係唔好譯啦，唔好譯。你聽我譯應該會仲辛苦過你去嘗試去理解。The dread came over me and suddenly I realized， 我發覺呢啲視覺小說我真係搞唔掂，要譯做中文嘅話。Canali and I should have left already, desiring greatly not to embarrass myself by being late to the first prayer of the season. I rushed out of my room to find him. 好靚喎，好靚喎。Roll interact OK。哦，綠色呢行係我嘅氣定係我嘅血定係 both 咧？應該係我嘅氣嚟嘅。放個位咁得意嘅。Roll interact。哦， 等陣先，我唔係。研究多研究先啊！背包呢一個，我冇得摁佢。Status defense laceration fracture cons 呢個 consciousness 係 concussion，sense to concussion 呢個 concussion，a condition caused by rep 係喎，呢個 concussion 嚟嘅喎。Electrocution 睇下先，呢度先係我主屬 vitality 唔知乜嘢 spirit 啩，我估又唔係啊。energy strength resistance towards various elements 呢啲咧，佢個上下掣硬係。哦，佢右掣係咁樣樣，撳實右掣係咁樣過嘅。OK，defense 係屬於 resistance 一種，呢啲全部都係對唔同嘢嘅防禦。呢個就係你當物理嘅防禦，呢個流血防禦，呢個應該係 fracture 係真係骨嘅碎骨有碎骨骨折。跟住呢一個係 concuss 係唔記得咗，腦震盪係腦震盪，同埋 concuss 係腦震盪，跟住然後最後嗰個係電觸電，最後嗰個係。Was sitting at the small table in the hall between our two sleeping rooms. He studied a small shard of ceramic. 啲爛咗嘅瓷器。Take from a broken vase laying in pieces before him. Ken, let's go, I said firmly. Ken smiled. 哇 ，Ken 咪好咯，唔好用個全名咯。Do you need to be somewhere? God, about if I asked you to wake me up one time as a favor, I said, kicking myself for being so naive. You asked, but I don't remember agreeing. 係你係問咗嘅，但我冇印象，我應承咗你，我會照做。Returning to study with the half-hidden smirk. And it isn't that late. I only heard the first bell. It really was quite like Ken to leave just before he was expected to be somewhere, arriving shamefully late and without worry nonetheless. More often than not, it led to frustration, but there was a part of me that admired his unbothered manner. Well, a very small part. I stared at him expectantly while he continued to examine the ceramic. After a long few breaths, it quickly became apparent that Ken didn't plan on leaving anytime soon. Do you have to do this right now? Yes, we've got plenty of time. If we left right now, we'd be early. Doesn't prayers start at the first bell? Well, yeah, but nobody gets there at the first bell. Oh, that's right. If you're sitting towards the front, she'll be offended or something. I have no idea what you're talking about. You're changing the subject. We can't be late for 2 prayers in a row. Don't you know how that looks? Ken turned to face me and shrugged his shoulder. 上次已經遲到咗嗰度佢哋，但係佢話如果個主角唔係喺 front row 嘅話，有人會嬲嗰個係邊個呢？ Do you honestly think they will hold us back just for missing a few prayers? And I'd rather pray on my own anyway. Just go ahead if you want. I'll even take the fall for this one. I shook my head. 你咁想去，你咪去先咯。有人話你咪話因為我咯。 我唔介意咯。Oh no, I'm in no rush. I could wait all day. I said with bravado, attempt to seem relaxed. I was calling his bluff. Ken gave me a frank look, pursing his lips. He locked eyes, and after a moment, he couldn't help but crack a smile. Leaning back, he sighed dramatically, making a show of throwing up his hands and putting on a weary expression. Alright, since you're begging me, he said, setting the ceramic back down on the table. That's not what happened, I said, offering him a hand as he reached for his walking stick. Oh, 佢盲㗎。He waved it away and came to his feet slowly, resting his weight entirely on the lift. He gave me a small nod. 唔係喎，佢係跛嘅喎，都唔係喎。This room is kinda mess. That's what the room is for. Putting things down. You have put way too many things down. It's perfectly organized. Don't we have somewhere to be? Oh yeah. Right. How 頭先係點樣打關鬥啊？誒？點樣落去啊？我呢個樓梯，好頂。個指示咁樣嘅。The settlement was awake. The crowd milled about as Ken and I stepped. Lock eyes 係咯，佢唔會係盲嘅啫，我黐咗先。明唔明 ？Lock eyes 點可能係盲？Stepped from our doorway into the light of the street. A soft wind fell over us, twisting my ash about my leg. The low chatter of voices filled my ears, and I watched idly as face passes. I'd seen every face before, some each day for years, other in passing. To find a familiar face was rare. The children of sunlight knew one another well. Children of sunlight. It was mid-morning, shortly before the second bell. Ken had been right about that, it seems. The sun burned in the sky, sparse clouds breaking the bright, pale blue. We were expected at the temple, all the young and healthy. Let's just take the main street. I'll lead and you follow. God no. Then we'll really be late. That's a good point. I'll follow you then, yeah. Why are we back here exactly? Give me a second. Hey, you were the one that wanted to show up early. I thought I saw something. Alright, whatever. By all means. Picked up ceramic shot. 咪就係佢頭先跌爛咗其中一忽。上邊仲有嘢喎，點上去咧？上邊？Good morning. Aram, thank you. Good morning, Farish. How's your shift been? Pretty uneventful this morning. Every once in a while, I have to break up an argument or something, but that's really it this time of the year, you know. 咁似樣嘅佢哋個個都 sounds like a perfect fit for you then, Yash. Ricochet Abyss 睇下先，應該冇。望望先 ，Visit Store Page。Dive into Ricochet Abyss 。Interesting 真係嘅，我諗嗰種係咯，怪物彈珠啦呢個，搞笑喎。keep 住喺度先，但係我個 list 嗰度唔會加嘢啦，左邊呢度。我呢次玩唔晒啦，已經肯定玩唔晒。聽日都 last day 啦 ，sounds like a perfect fit for you 跟住係咯，聽日我仲有幾隻我係想玩嘢，我自己會 pick out 幾隻想玩，但係抽唔中嘅，去 end on 呢一個 next fest。Hello。感謝。I see you haven't changed a bit。雀寵大亂鬥啊！睇下先，睇埋個雀寵大亂鬥先。啊，好似見過喎呢隻。個名好熟啊，咪極度好評喎。哦，係啦，係呢隻。互相放毒啱嘛？好，係呢隻我知咩嚟。佢左邊嗰度係咯，右邊嗰啲唔係咯。係好似落黑人，我記得我睇嗰陣時，我覺得好似落黑人。Save the internet。係咪好似 Rockman EXE 但係 AFK 版？轉返入 game 先。I see you haven't changed a bit. Hey, come on. Can I really need to get to prayer. See you later, Farge. 點解上邊嘅咧？但係我想知。Conversation among the crowd, while frequent, was in low, hushed tones. I took in pieces of conversation as we walked along a weathered cinder brick road. What have you heard? Have you seen the fields? No, I don't know. And so on. I'm doing all things. You're fencing this season, right? Congratulations. 真係好似啊，個樣係一模一樣，點會轉咗個髮型 ？Thanks. I'll join you guys pretty soon. I look forward to it. And and this was Ken, right? Oh, don't pretend you don't remember. You and I were inseparable back in the days. Not quite.點解有個感嘆號嘅？我呢度係撳咗一下嘅啫，但係佢好似有啲 over sensitive 喎呢個 game。有時我係撳上下左右箭嘴嗰個一下。 唔係個冬菇向左或者右喐咗一下。Slowly coming to a stop, I began to notice that the street was filled with carts. They're vegetable carts, the one used to bring food from plantation to the settlements. 有一啲車裏邊有一啲蔬菜，由嗰個種植園嗰度帶過嚟。It wasn't odd to see them this time of year, as the warm season always signified the harvest. No, what stopped me was that they were all empty. 啊，全部都係空嘅 ，empty and abandoned. It seems. Oh wait, what have to do with all that stuff they've been saying about the harvest? What stuff? We've been saying it. Did I tell you? You didn't. That's why I'm asking. At work, I heard some rumor about the harvest this year. Like, that is not too good. From a few different people. Not good? Nobody told me anything. What does that mean? Lower yield than normal, I'd assume. It's probably not a big deal, okay? Shouldn't we be going? Oh, yes, sorry. Come on. 喺度約呢個又可以傾偈添，較細聲啲先，真係太大聲。又有多一個可以傾偈嘅喎，OK， 直接衝過去先，又可以入去喎。睇呢度有兩樣嘢可以執喎，好似有兩個爛咗嘅 ceramic 喎。red powder ceramic shard， 難道有 redstone？By the time Khan and I made our way to the last block before the temple, the crowd had already dispersed. Everyone was already inside, it seems. Come on. The street was left and peaceful. Why? To Khan's changing and my dismay, the two of us were like, when he picked up the pace, I think everyone is inside already. Well, that's that. They started without us. I think the proper thing to do now is head back home and... What? No way. There's no way we can just skip it. I seem to recall us saying if you're going to be late to something, you're better off not showing up at all. You and I both know that nobody says that. Come on. Alright. 唔想去到一個點。哦，左右嘅意思係咁，直接入去啦。都遲到啦，冇理由繼續去。The room was quiet and smelled of ash. 好端啊 Ken and I filled in the space crowded with many already kneeling in a ring around the center of the room. Dimly lit, the only source of light was bright beam of the sun streaming in through an opening in the ceiling. The light cast against the floor in such a way that no person knelt directly in it, and instead surround the radius of the circle ever so closely. Ken and I found an open space a few rings from the front, kneeling and folding our hands in the proper manner. As people continued to enter it, I scanned the room. There was my father. Set towards the back across from me in the circle. The sun now 咩嚟㗎 ？Scott 嚟嗰個冇睇過 Dune。如果係 Dune 嘅 reference 嘅話，咁我就唔知啦。I looked lower, noticing Ashada's weapons lying delicately across his knee。係咪即係佢老豆啊 ？Embarrassed, I had forgotten. I quickly did the same. In the far back of the room, my mother was speaking in hushed tone to a girl close to my age. After a moment, she caught my gaze as well, and smiled. I prayed drew all to the temple. Every young man and interesting. 用 woman 唔係用 women. Every young man and woman from each obligation. The settlement came together in prayer often. It was how we spoke with God. I opened my eyes and the sunlight maidens had made their way to the sunlight maiden 係呢一班人 ，OK? Their way to the center of the circle. 咁邪教 feel 嘅好似。The deep red of their clothes was striking amidst a room of brown and grey. Some were young as I, if not younger, while others were nearly as old as my mother. In the line, they came quickly and quietly, their pale skin bathed all at once in sunlight. I looked closely, but she wasn't there. Not yet. A girl, about my age, stood towards the front of the group. Her name was 叫做花算啦，我唔識點讀。Farik? She raised her hands to the sky, then brought them down gently, suddenly speaking. Hear us, God. See us, God. For we are here. Her voice was soft, but carried throughout the chamber. We're still here, oh God. We are here, where you left us. We have not gone away. We have not forsaken your blessing and your gift to us. The girl closed her eyes. And so we ask you. At this, we lowered our head nearly to the floor. I felt Ken do so to my left. Grant us safety. Grant us healthy children. At this, she paused. I looked up, suddenly aware of her face. Her expression was strained. Grant us good harvest. She paused again. Give us guidance if we have strayed from your plan, and grant us strength in the coming season. Whatever hardship we may face, please, oh God. What? The image of the street and the empty vegetable carts returned. Maybe it was true then. Maybe the harvest hadn't been good. I was pulled from my thought by the motion of Ken returning to a kneel beside me. The rest of the room already done so, and I pulled myself up quickly. I noticed then the small fire lit by the other sunlight maiden. And another had begun to approach the circle. She strode confidently, yet her face was obscured. The hood of her minash pulled low. The long braid of her hair spilled out to one side, gently swaying as she came near. 幾得意喎呢個故事。Her steps, the way she held her hands at her waist. I knew her without seeing her face. It was Shas. 但係啲名真係唔得。Sashita. Stepping into the light, the other maidens made room by the fire. Farik watched her closely. I couldn't read the expression on her face. Sashita stood for a moment, unmoving, seeming to ignore anyone around her, and then, all at once, her hands come forward. She held them upward towards the open sky above. In her palm, there was a soft glow of indigo light. The air seems to shimmering, small piece of dust pulling closer and closer to the center of her cupped hand. There was a soft dull sound, and suddenly the light was gone. In her hands was a small wooden figure, something like a woman. She held it above the flame for a long moment, an offering. Your gifts to us and our gifts to you. 真係有神跡㗎喎。Sashita spoke more softly than fire. Opening her hands, the figure fell into the flames. Quickly, it caught and began to smolder. While white smoke rose from the fire and into the morning air. Clasping our hands, we raised them above our heads. The eye of the room were on the smoke, as it danced upwards towards the light. But I was watching her. Sashita, too, after a long moment, raised her head to watch the smoke. But the motion was quick, and her hood fell back from her face. There in the hazy light, Sashita's features were on full display to the room. Wow. Her hair was lighter brown than most. It fell to both sides of her pale face, pale white like any sunlight maiden, yet at the further glance the left half was strange. Splotches of crimson red ran across it, the appearance of burned skin. Her eye at first glance shone a vibrant note, but the left, the iris had faded, now an ashen grey. It was half of her body, it seemed, half of her body that bore the memory of illness. Sashita's face grew apprehensive as she realized her hood had fallen away. Quickly her gaze went across the crowd. I looked as well. I knew what I would see. Where faces before were natural, now they were strained. Some looked away. Others let their mouth fall carelessly into short frowns. I looked at her again, and at last she looked at me. Something came over her face for a moment, but just as quickly as it was gone, she put her hood back on. The ceremony continued for a short while longer. Each of us prayed quietly, and eventually, it was time to leave. There was work to be done. 其中一個 Sunlight Maiden 唔知點解左半邊身體好似係俾人灼傷咗啊，定還是係曾經有一啲唔知咩病所留低嘅一啲疤痕咁樣，成邊都係紅地色咁樣。You see that new girl? What's her name? The one that gave the prayer, huh? Oh yeah. I think her name is Farik. She was pretty. You don't even remember her name. Why do you? Joanna Ed. She's our age. We used to play together, remember? It's not like we've spoken since then. Just then the girl emerged from the temple doorway. She clutched a notebook under one arm tightly as she descended the stairs towards us. Rava's hair was long and she wore it tied up high on her head. It was certainly too long for a potter, but for some reason the clean let her grow it up longer than was practical. Rava was a very hard worker though, so I could see why they might make an exception for her. She stopped a few feet short and smiled at us, giving Ken a wave. Good morning. Whoa, Ken. You're actually here. I'm shocked. I thought I was going to need to come to your rooms. I exceed expectation as usual. Yes, something to do with us. Do with this, right? Not really. Yeah, that's a lie. I gave him a little push out of the door. I don't remember it that way. What's like, Ken? Aram is too good to you. I don't know about all that. No, hold on. She makes a really good point. You see? You don't realize that you and I have good lives. Hello, Louis. Ken, we have one job, just one. And they bring us our meal, and all you need to do is show up to the temple on every few days. Prava. No, I'm not finished yet. Come on, Prava. It's early. Okay, fine. But don't complain today. We have a lot to do in the camp. 唔識啦。總之係嗰個教裏邊有啲嘢做咧。Alright, alright. See you. Goodbye. See you. Prava held out her arm for Kanali to take. He hesitated for a moment, but soon took it with a roll of his eye. The pair made their way down the stairs and started in the direction of the camp. Prava insisted, walking Ken every morning. It's not as if he need help getting there, but he humored her anyways. Ken wouldn't have ever admitted that, of course. I looked at the sun in the sky for a short moment. It's time. I should have head to the armory. I can't believe this was an important season. Ken and I were very close to advancement. It felt odd taking a short breath. My future was in front of me, close by. Heads to the armory for today's training. 突然間識跑咯我哋。Wait, where am I going? This isn't the right way. Oh god, I'm tired. 嚇！竟然唔係呢邊？等我啊！先 head to the armory for today's training. 有戰鬥元素㗎，有戰鬥元素㗎呢隻。頭先就係話咯，佢呢隻我見啲玩家加嘅 tag 裏邊係有 soul like 㗎咯 ，for some reason。I took my place among the oldest of the apprentices, gathered in a small crowd. Wound-bearer of all ages moved around me in the country yard. Some of the boys near the back noticed my presence and gave me a small nod. I smiled and nodded back. Father stood apart from the group. He was my father. He was? But known to the settlements as Ashada of the High Wound-bearer. Noticing my approach, he nodded in my direction and began to speak. This will be the last season of your apprenticeship. For 8 long years, all of you have trained within these walls. You have trained so that you may do your part to improve the life of the people of the settlements. It is our obligations to keep our loved ones safe and to maintain the island peace. 喺個島上邊 okay? But you all know advancing the journeyman is a significant right. Random sub-emo unlock 睇下用唔用到And so the settlement must see that you are prepared. It's come 用到喎It's come time that you demonstrate the extent of your skills. You will be facing each other in combat these next few weeks. Show me the flame that I've cultivated in you. Show me the fire the children of sunlight hold within themselves. Understood. Our voices came at once. A familiar chord and response. Father gestured and we formed the familiar ring. I felt the morning uneasiness begin to fade. Why did the morning prayer shake me so much? I don't remember. Father looked in my direction and nodded. I stepped into the circle, clasping my blade in one hand. I assumed neutral position. Father scanned the ring of the wound bearers before setting his eye on Sergeant. Off to my left, Sergeant was somewhat taller and darker in complexion than myself. Nodding, he stepped into the center of the ring as well. He gave a small smile, nervousness palpable on his face. It was hard to hide my own. It's early. Usually we have time to warm up. I felt my muscle tense and I shifted the grip on my weapon. Father has us begin immediately. I should win this. I need him to see me win. In order to block an incoming attack, press B at the correct time, right as the outer ring touches the inner ring. 明白。咦，似音 game。Blocking attack will drain your stamina bar. If you run out of stamina, you won't be able to block and will take increasing damage. The better you time your block, the less stamina you'll lose. Wow. If you time it perfectly just as the ring touches, you'll lose 0 stamina. Stamina will passively refill while on defense, but you can also restore it by choosing the defend option on your turn. To do so, press B when your command menu. On your turn base? Blocking attacks will drain your stamina bar. If you run out of stamina, you won't be able to block and will take increasing damage. 呢個知啊？哦，3 OK， 3 over 3。Combat basic. Now it's your turn to respond. From your command menu, initiate an attack. Attack costs stamina, so be sure you don't use too much. 乜都用 stamina 嘅。好。Just as with blocking, timing your command perfectly will result in a bonus for attacking. 哇 ！Now it's your turn. 好。哇 ，miss 咗。吓？點解我第二下會 miss 㗎？好難喎，嗰個節奏好似。Well, you have unlimited time to choose action so far. Knowing that in real combat, you only have a few seconds to make a decision about what to do. If you run out of time, you will automatically defend. Practice what you have learned so far and defeat. 好。哎，哇，個 timing 超難，我想講。 So like QTE 好難捉嗰個時間。Wasn't down for long. He came quickly to his knee, dusting himself and grinning. Breathing hard, I scanned the crowd for Father. He looked for me a short moment, giving a small nod of approval. It felt great. Father called out again. While on defense and self-blocking, you also have the options to evade and incoming attacks. Certain attacks can't be blocked and must be evaded. In order to evade, press X while holding left or right. Using 呢一個 to evade。明白。While heavy attack must be avoided by evading, you can choose to evade any attack instead of blocking. However, evading costs significantly more stamina than blocking, so it should be used only in situation necessary. What the? All the attackers you have had to deal with so far have been neutral hits. However, your opponent may attack in specific direction. Pay close attention to the hit. 等等啊！鬼轉 Street Fighter 我都覺。Pay close attention to the hit circle to watch for direction. In order to block a directional attack, simply block as normal but hold the direction of the arrow shown. Simply 啊。Pulling it together， 好，嚟啊！哇！ Before I realized it, midday had come. Father signaled to the courtyard that it was time to break for the meal. The group began to file inside, exhausted. My hands behind my head, I took a moment to breathe deeply and recover. I noticed Sergeant at my side, chest rising and falling similarly. He gave me a sidelong look and grinned. God's-like arm, you've gotten way too good. I'll be sure and return the favor tomorrow. 打到下次戰鬥你已經忘咗，我都覺。黐線，佢呢一個咁，又或者冇下次咧，話唔定呢一度已經完咗咧。I've been trained with Sergeant for many years. We weren't close outside of the armory, but he was a friendly face, sure, Sarge. But you have to try harder than that. Sarge laughed and clapped me on the back before turning into the building. I followed a few feet behind. The room was filled with long tables. One bear typically sat amongst those their own age. I looked across the room, noticing the set of tables where my group was eating. Nearby sat my father. We made eye contact and smiled. Just then, I had a feeling I want to ask him something. I strolled near and sat across from him, folding my legs underneath myself. You did well earlier. Sarge is larger than you, but you maneuvered around his size advantage well. Thank you, Father. I don't tell you often enough, but I'm very proud of your skills have grown how this past season. When the current season has ended and it comes times, you'll make a fine temple guard. Really? Is it certain that'll be my concentration? I've recommended to the Eshan many times. They have great foresight and always make the wisest decision. So yeah, I'm sure. Father smiled. Suddenly I recalled what it was I had wanted to ask him. The empty vegetable cart flashed through my mind. Just then the young boy came by, passing steaming ceramics bowls. I took mine in my hands, feeling the warmth, but something was off. It was half full. I looked at father, taking small bites. 男女都一樣係多，只不過係多咗撇須啊等等嗰啲。Father, yes. Isn't this less than normal portion? It is, but why? I'm certain the Ashan will make an announcement in due time. This has happened before you were born. I didn't think I would live to see another, but alas. So then, does this have to do with the harvest? Yes. It's called fame. Farming? Fame? When the yield of vegetable is lower than lower than what is necessary to feed the settlement thing. So what's going to... It seems that way from what I've been told. There may be difficulties soon. Oh, what sort of difficulties? It is often difficult to determine a fair distribution of food amongst the settlement. Whatever the decision, one bearer must serve to enforce it. When you advance, you play a part in this. I did the same. I don't really understand. That weapon you carry around. It gives you a special right among the children of sunlight. You understand this? One bearer maintain the peace. 竟然係死黑警模擬器咁樣。There may come a time when that weapon must deter those who disrupt that peace. What do you mean? Let's speak of other things. Don't worry yourself about these things right now. You have plenty of focus on it. When time comes, we'll discuss it further. Alright. But it's what struck with me. I tried to ignore the feeling, but I was shaken. I already know what wound bearers are often asked to keep the peace. If somebody is stealing from the community or hurting another person, there's just no need to do something like that on our island. So I can understand using force to stop that person, but if all they want is a meal, there's always been enough go around until now. The thought of it made me uneasy. Eventually the meal ended and we returned to work. The days slipped by as I continued practice and spars with my peers. The bright midday sun grew cold and brilliant orange. By the time father dismissed us, it was late afternoon now.好啦，呢隻 game 玩到嚟呢度先。雖然淨係玩咗 tutorial 同埋淨係睇咗個故事，但係玩到嚟呢度先啦，因為要食飯啦。另外一樣嘢就係我都可以見到我之後嘅對戰應該會好似阿 Scott 話齋已經完全唔記得咗點打。呢個應該係真嘅。係啦，咁樣呢，就再一次 rare 人啦。好啦，多謝晒咁多位嘅支持，應該聽日先至再開 stream 噶啦，今晚唔開噶啦。咁啊，剩低幾隻，聽日再玩埋佢。剩低有幾隻我想玩嘅，同埋你哋尋日抽咗仲有一隻，就係 Drowning Ashes 咁樣，之後再玩啦。好，多謝咁多位嘅支持，之後再見，拜拜。順手 ray 過去啦。